All right, y'all. So YouTube told me you guys were interested in this sort of thing. Don't make a liar out of YouTube, okay? All right? Don't do that. What we're here to talk about are some vegans on Reddit, and in today's video, particularly in the Am I the Asshole threads. Now, this is a place where people go to ask some questions regarding their lives and some decisions they've made, and they try to get people's opinions on whether or not the decision they made was a justified one, or if they're just kind of a piece of shit for doing so. Now, this particular series of Am I the Assholes that I'll be showing you today are interesting because they're all revolving around vegan decisions and impacting vegans in their lives. So I've mentioned before that the craziness around veganism goes far beyond the vegan activists that I love to make fun of, like that vegan teacher.
Was the same as all of you who eat meat, dairy, and eggs because he was never taught to be kind to animals.
Or Tosh Peterson.
What the fuck is wrong with you if you're laughing? You're fucking psychopath!
Or even Earthling Ed.
Narcissistic, self-righteous, and egotistical drivel that is just further trivializing the needless violence that has been inflicted upon animals.
Or Vegan Gains. It goes much, much, much deeper than that. The fact of the matter is, many of the apples in the vegan tree here are quite rotten. Now, that's not to say that all vegans are rotten apples. That's just not true. However, when you go on the internet and you consume any sort of vegan media, you tend to see a lot of the same toxicity that you see spewing out from the mouths of that rotting corpse we call vegan teacher. And even worse than that, a lot of people in the vegan community also support PETA, people exterminating the animals. And I've made videos on my main channel about PETA and how awful they are, but don't worry, if you haven't seen those, they'll find their way here eventually, and along with some new content around PETA. With all that said though, let's get into the meat and potatoes of this discussion today. We're going to be starting off with this. Am I the asshole? Am I the asshole for breaking my children's vegan diet imposed on them by my ex? Before you all jump down my throat, give me a chance to explain. Now he's absolutely, or whoever this person is, absolutely correct for putting this little like disclaimer, I don't even know if to call it that, but this like caution, I guess, because the truth is people on Reddit can be quite vicious, especially vegans on Reddit. So it's definitely proper to make sure that you ask to play nice before really getting into it. Anyway, I was with my ex Venus for over 10 years, from when I was 15 until I was almost 26. I am currently 31. Venus was raised a vegan and has never, to my knowledge, eaten meat or any animal products. Well, that sucks. What a shame. What kind of life is that? While we were together, we had 3 boys. Male 11 Mercury, male 9 Jupiter, and male 7 Mars. And I don't know if these are like code names or these are actually everybody's names, but if it is, like, holy crap, dude. When I first got into a relationship with Venus, I started to follow the vegan diet because she wanted me to. And I've mostly followed it even after we broke up, mainly out of habit. During this time, I had to be very careful with what I ate to ensure I got the proper nutrients, and my food bill every month was sky high. I also had a lot of issues with depression and anxiety. Yeah, vegan diet will do that to you, my friend. About 3 months ago, I slowly started to reintroduce meat into my diet, and since then, I've felt so much better. I haven't had to buy loads of vitamins or carefully plan my diet to ensure I got every amino acid or avoided deficiencies, and my food bill dropped. Very good. Glad to hear that. I also started doing research into kids who are raised vegan and found some things that made me nervous. I read that vegan kids can sometimes be shorter and might need supplements for things like B12, calcium, and iron if they aren't getting everything they need from their diet. Now I'm going to go ahead and comment on this because I've talked about vegan kids many times before, and a lot of studies will tell you that yeah, your child can be healthy on a vegan diet, but you got to be very, very careful in making sure that they get all their nutrients, because the fact of the matter is you got to remember a vegan diet is going to be deprived of essential nutrients like B12. You're going to be lower in certain fats, fatty acids, omega-3s, you know, all of that stuff. And if you're not supplementing properly, especially for a growing child, you can cause serious developmental issues on top of obviously shorter stature, lower bone density. Basically, if you're trying to raise a child on a vegan diet, you have to be an expert at what you're doing, or you're going to cause some issues, which is why I greatly disapprove of vegan diets for young children. In addition to that, even if you are an expert, there's still a possibility that you could do everything right and your child's body just might not accept all of these nutrients that you're providing through supplementation as well as they would through the genuine sources, that being animal products, in which case they'll still have deficiencies, issues, etc. So simply don't do it. None of my boys have started puberty yet, which might be okay, but since I hit puberty at around 9, it got me worried about mercury. They're also all in about the 5th to 15th percentile of height and weight, which made me want to check in with the doctor, which also made me very concerned after I learned that the vegan diet could have impacted this. I was never a short kid, but I don't know, I think I just assumed they were just short for their age. I brought my concerns to our GP. He recommended introducing meat and animal products into their diets first to see if it would help with growth before considering other options. Now, I agree, going to a doctor to get an opinion about this is a great idea. And if the doctor tells you, hey, do this, this is best for your kids, that should probably be what you do, regardless of if it goes against your moral standings of veganism, because your kids come well before these random dairy cows that you're not really impacting by going vegan. One person, 2 people going vegan isn't enough to impact the world in any meaningful way. So regardless of your belief, your kids should still come first, because you're really not having that great of an impact regardless. And even if you were, your kids should still come first. So following that advice 6 weeks ago, I decided to slowly introduce animal products into their diets whenever they had their time with me. But it had been slow. I don't want to introduce it too fast, and I gave them the choice with all that information I had and with what the doctor said. I informed Venus about this and she was furious with me, saying how I'm just doing it to be vindictive to her when I'm not. And that if I don't stop, she is going to go back to family court and get the child arrangements order changed, so she'll have full custody of the boys and I only get visitation. Now, I don't even need to explain how disgusting and vile this is. Obviously, even just threatening to be like, okay, I'm going to take away custody is ridiculous in the first place. Even for any reason, if the father here isn't like abusing your children, hurting them in any way, threatening to do this, no matter the circumstance outside of that, is disgusting. It's vile. Like, what is wrong with you, lady? How do you even conjure this idea? That just shows how selfish a lot of these vegan people can be. And then it actually stems from the concept here of veganism, and it makes it very clear that the mother doesn't particularly care for her children's health and well-being, to the point where they're comfortable with ignoring the doctor's advice just to uphold this belief. It's pretty saddening, honestly, and I feel for the father in this situation. I think they're absolutely doing the correct thing, and they even gave the kids a choice. They didn't just force it, like literally shove meat down their throat. No, they gave them the option. They explained the situation, which is really responsible, proper parent thing to do. But of course, the vegan mother has an issue with it. Let's continue. I told her that this was recommended by their GP, and I'm pretty sure GP stands for like general practitioner, which is like your family doctor, in case for those of you that didn't know that. And she said I'd had no right in going to the GP without her, which is untrue. You as any parent have the right to take your children to a doctor to make sure that their health and well-being is up to speed. In fact, as a partner in this relationship, whether divorced or separated or not, you should want the other partner to take on that responsibility as well. That's being a responsible, good parent. I don't understand how you can take issue with that, but here we are. She's calling me cruel, and she's been telling our boys that they should refuse to eat any animal products and to say I'm forcing them. When this isn't true, and every time they've been over, they've loved trying new foods like real milk, eggs, etc. Some they don't like, which is fair. Am I the asshole? No, absolutely not. And I think I've already made it very clear why you're not. And the fact that there's any debate around this at all is disgusting. It's sickening. To think that the well-being of your child comes second to the animals and dairy farms and the meat industry, that's ridiculous. That's so crazy to put those animals above your own child. But this is the kind of thing that these staunch vegans do, and it's really concerning because there's already been cases of children dying from malnourishment for being on strict vegan diets. And the issue is, like, some of these vegans who have been vegan for most of their lives, like, they don't even know it because they're so far gone, but the B12 deficiencies, the nutrient deficiencies that they are suffering have gotten to the point where they've pretty much rotted their brains, to the point where they don't even think properly, to the point where they think that their own children's safety is second to their vegan diet, which is so disturbing. And I really don't need to go into great detail about this. I'm sure you guys understand. And anyway, the custody thing really, really grinds my gears to think that this is a justifiable reason to try to go to the court, abuse the system, and have the kids taken away from the father, who's clearly the only responsible parent in this relationship and is actually trying to keep their health and well-being at the forefront of everything, as you should as a parent. This is really, really disappointing to see from a mother to not do that. But anyway, let me know what you guys think. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and hit that subscribe button. Till next time.